I got one last thing to say about how the Celtics closed the game in Atlanta, and I'm dropping it. I swear, I'm dropping it after one last thing. Then Grant Williams, Blake Griffin, what's going on? Is Joe Mazzulla sending a message? Is it the injury? Is it the money? What is going on? We're going to break it down right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day, Monday through Friday, with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device. So whatever app you use to get your podcast, this show is there. If you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button right now. You can also do the same thing on YouTube, where we've got over 10,000 subscribers. People are in the comment sections having conversations. Hop on in there. It's a nice, fun place to be for a Celtics fan. I'm John Karalis, cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Used to play the game once upon a time. I've also written a book called Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. Still talking about the Celtics win over the Atlanta Hawks, but mainly in our second and third segments, especially focusing on the Grant Williams DNP, Blake Griffin getting those minutes. What does it mean? Where are they going with all of this? Today's show brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com. Promo code Locked On. Big conversation to have today, so I figured I'd have it with my friend, Tom Westerholm. Tom _NBA. Tom, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm trying to get past some of the. Every once in a while, I admit this. I've gotten much better at letting social media arguments go. Every once in a while, though, man, something just sticks in my side, and I just can't let it go. It's a personal failing. I understand that. Much like what I'm about to talk about, like Jaylen and Marcus and that stuff. I want to get your opinion on that. We're going to let it go after this initial conversation. We're just going to let it go.
Okay.
This is, I admit, my own personal failing. I need to be better when it comes to this kind of stuff. I admit that. But it still continues because it persisted into today. I need to get your opinion. How do you think the Celtics close this game?
Well, I mean, that's a very, I feel like that's almost a leading question, right? I mean, they didn't.
You can tell me they were fine. You can tell me it was so. Whatever your opinion is. Whatever.
Well, right. I mean, look, I think you look at the way.
Shut up, Tom. No.
You look at the way the game ended, and there's the Jaylen 4-point play was pretty ugly. It was a weird play. Like when you watch it back, I mean, it looked like he almost didn't know where he was. Like I wondered if the mask affected his vision somehow, and in the closeout, like I don't know. It just looked weird. There was something very odd about that closeout. And then I mean the Smart play, Smart needs to. You just got to be smarter than that. Like you look at the play, it didn't look like Trae Young. Like Trae's
hard to think that he could actually in mid-flight kind of kick that foot back.
The coordination required would have been pretty remarkable.
These are elite athletes. It's possible.
It's true. It's true. Like the peripheral vision to kick his foot back like that, combined with the coordination.
Let's give Marcus. Let's kind of humor Marcus here and be like, hey man, he knew who he's driving past, so maybe he didn't say this kick will kick him in the nuts, but if I drive past him and kick my foot up thusly, maybe the heel will find some other private parts. I don't know. Like he could have been like, hey, I'm going to do it. And if it connects, it connects. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right.
I've got plausible deniability. I can give Marcus that there is the possibility that Trae was just like, I'm going to throw an exploratory, heel kick out there. And if I catch some nuts,
Spleen.
I catch some nuts.
Yeah, nuts, spleen, kidney, whatever I get,
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit some other human.
Yeah. I look like Smart certainly wouldn't be the first basketball player to find Trae Young annoying. Like it's
Or non-basketball player.
or not, there's a lot of people
Or no
out
longer
there.
basketball player, I should say.
Right. Yeah, like it's he definitely rubs some people the wrong way. Like, but and I mean, Smart has to be just you still have to just consider like what's the upside here, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what did you think was going to happen? I think to me, I understand the concerns about the close of that game. I mean, I think there was a lot of stuff to kind of take away that was positive. I mean, the defense, was like everybody said was very optional. I mean, but you look up and down, like the passing felt like it was really good. The assist numbers were high. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 guys who had between like 5 and 7 assists. Like,
Yeah,
it was,
what they have, like 35 assists in this game? That's very impressive.
And you watch the ball whip around for some of those 3-pointers. Like there was some really good stuff in that game that I think, to me, kind of assuages the end of it.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is just like weird stuff sometimes happens in the regular season. It's like
Mhm.
like it just and like I'm sorry if Marcus gets suspended for a game. Sure, the Celtics will miss him for that game, but then they also have Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
this
right.
is like
Yeah.
this is the position like where if something if somebody does something stupid, there's other guys who can fill in just fine. Like he'll be fine. So like I'm not overly concerned about it. But it certainly wasn't smooth. It certainly wasn't pretty. And like, like you start to look ahead to the playoffs, and it's like these are things you can't do in the postseason. Like you have to be smarter than that in the postseason.
Exactly.
Like just to keep countering myself over and over and over again, I do think like, Smart has been around long enough to know the difference, right? To know like, okay, this is a regular season game versus a postseason game. I don't think he's like out of control to where during the playoffs he'll try to pull something like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's a long way of saying, yeah, I mean, it wasn't great, but I didn't think it was like the hugest deal. Right.
Would you categorize it as bothersome?
I think, yeah, I mean, maybe bothersome is an interesting word. It almost implies that there's no. Okay, do you think that bothersome implies that there are sort of future ramifications here, or no?
I think so. That's the word that I used.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is why. So
Yeah,
it implies that it implies something beyond the moment.
Okay.
That this isn't just like okay, this happened in this game, and like bothersome is just like that little like, oh, come on. So and it's only because of the way they closed out those 3. So they had the 3 bad losses or 2 bad losses, the loss in Cleveland, which I really was not worried about.
Right.
The game against Portland, which was just kind of like a gift in a lot of ways because Portland just sucked so bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I want to see them start building up. And I would rather have seen a little bit shakier start and a better finish than the start that they had and the finish that they had, because they're good starts are not a problem for these guys. Good starts are I don't care about like good starts up 20 in the first half, whatever. That doesn't like I'm not worried about them being able to build a lead. I'm worried about them being able to hold the lead. And so the fourth quarter mixed into that was the offensive rebounds. Like, come on, guys. Come on, get a rebound. The turnovers, all of that stuff. And then on top of that, so that play was Smart, fumble the ball out of bounds. That happens. I'm not as worried about that. That was something that's like, I'm obviously you'd prefer it not to happen, but that does happen. So I'm all right, whatever.
Yeah.
The fact that they came down, that Jaylen was lazy in that moment, and that Smart actively made a choice. He knew what the situation was, and it was a close game. It wasn't like 15 points. If it was a 15, 17-point lead, not that big of a deal to me. 10-point lead, you give up 4 points. Now it's 6 with, you're 2 3-pointers away from a tie game in today's NBA. That's too much. That's too close. So, yeah, and we've seen it before. So, yes, I found it bothersome. I found it bothersome because it's just like, guys, you just did all this stuff. You just told us we need to be better down the stretch. And now you're doing this? Like, yeah, that bugs me. Of course it bugs me. Not that I think this is going to be something. If they played a 1-8 series against the Hawks, am I worried about that? No, not at all. It should be a sweep, maybe 5 games, right? So I'm not worried about that in one bit. But also, come on. You just said you were going to be better. Like, what are you doing? It's like I'm going to quit smoking. You're like, okay, fine, I'm going to quit smoking. And I turn around the corner and you're smoking behind the corner. You're like, dude, you just said you were quitting. And you're like, yeah, I know. Come on, man. That's the extent of that. So, okay.
Yeah.
We're done with this.
Okay.
We're done. I promised.
Do you feel like purified? Have you gotten this like off your chest a little bit? Like, do you feel good now?
Not one bit. I'm going to continue this online. No.
It's
I'm
still
done.
bothersome.
I'm done. I got to move on, man. I got to move on. They play.
Got to move on.
They play the Houston Rockets with or without Smart. I don't know. Do you think he's going to get suspended real quick?
I don't.
I do because of reputation.
Okay, all right. It didn't look like much to me. I don't know. It looked like a guy kind of stumbling, and I don't know. It looked worse than it was to me.
He fell. He clamped his arms. He clamped his arms around Trae Young. He kind of like, and then he kind of rolled. He took Trae Young. He definitely took Trae Young down. He knew what he was doing.
Okay,
totally. Dude, I've been there, man. I've been there.
That's fair.
I've been there. I'm not going to sit here and profess complete innocence. I have fallen and taken a guy with me. That's something like you see it when you know. I know what I saw. And Smart can deny it.
Smart just wanted a day off. He's just trying to get the Houston game off. They'll be okay. Whatever.
It's fine. If he gets, I think he'll get suspended just because he's Marcus Smart. Like, if Derek White did that, he would not. No way a suspension. Marcus Smart, that's a game.
There's no way Derek White would do that. Anyway,
he would never do that. But if he did,
correct.
It would be like they'd be like, Derek, $5,000 fine. Don't do that again. All right, let's get into the Grant Williams stuff because I said I was going to save it for this podcast, and that's what we're going to do. So we'll talk about Grant Williams, Blake Griffin, and all that stuff next. First, download the PrizePicks app and have some fun with daily fantasy basketball or daily fantasy sports in general, because it's a great way to get your daily fantasy fix in without having to compete against the experts, people with high-powered computers and who make this kind of like a living of sorts. You're just trying to have some fun. You're just trying to throw a few bucks down and see if you can make up to 25 times your money on a single entry like you can with PrizePicks, which is simple. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they go to score more or less than the PrizePicks projection, boom, up to 25 times your money. It's up to you. It's you against the projections. And that's all you want to do. Have some fun, maybe make a little bit of cash. And the best part about PrizePicks is, aside from all of everything I just said, every sport considerable that's out there. I mean, you want MMA, disc golf. I didn't even know disc golf had this level of interest where you could do daily fantasy disc golf, but that's how good PrizePicks is. So check it out. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. Super easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Operational in 30 states and Canada. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up today to play daily fantasy sports. You first-time users, you get a 100% deposit match on up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. Instant deposit match. If you deposit up to $100, you get $100. If you deposit $50, you get $50. Don't forget, you have to use the promo code Locked On at sign up. That's how you get your instant deposit match of up to $100. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Head on over to the Locked On NBA feed for 2 great podcasts. Locked On Game to Game, you get each side of the story. Local hosts giving you their take on what happened in the game so you get caught up on the night. Locked On NBA gets you the big picture, what's going on in the league. Rotating hosts all week for Locked On NBA, including me with Jake Madison on Wednesday. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Get the show on YouTube. Let's bring Tom Westerholm back into the mix here. Blake Griffin against the Atlanta Hawks, 15 minutes and 5 seconds of play, 8 points on 4 of 6 shooting. He had 5 rebounds, including 3 offensive, an assist, a steal, a block, a turnover, 2 fouls. Grant Williams had 0 minutes, 0 points, 0 anything. His second DNP of the month, and really could have been third because he didn't play in the first 3 quarters of the Portland game,
Right.
and played the whole fourth quarter because that was all garbage time. So I will consider it 2 DNPs, but effectively 3. So what do you think, Tom? What is going on here? Why Blake Griffin over Grant? And do you think this is how it's going to go?
I mean, I think it's hard to look at what Blake Griffin did and like you understand it, right? Like he played great and Grant has really been struggling. Now, I mean, we're starting to hear like, some reports of an injury, all that kind of stuff. And I thought Blake himself has been saying like that he doesn't think that Grant's situation is going to continue that much longer like this. Like it's very odd to kind of parse through. And I think if you're the Celtics, it's worrisome because Grant is like, you look at last year's playoffs, right? And the level of impact that Grant Williams had on the Celtics finals run is really hard to overstate. Like he was really, really important to that team.
Yes.
And like you look at the start to this season and the way he was shooting and just all of the stuff that he brought to this team, like they need him to be in the rotation. They need him to play himself into the rotation. But yeah, I mean, I think, look, Blake Griffin is a veteran. He is a former star who I think it's important to note that Griffin changed his game throughout his career, right? Like this is not something that like is new to him. Like when he came in, he was obviously this high flying guy, but when he was in Detroit, I mean, he was shooting a lot of threes. He was scoring a lot of points that way. Like he has changed his game throughout his career, and he's doing it again now as kind of this like, plug and play, come off the bench utility guy at any time. I mean, that's to have that guy as a veteran who everybody respects to the level that they respect Blake. That's huge for a basketball team. That is very, very valuable. And, he's being rewarded with minutes right now. I mean, look, like he deserves them. He's been that guy this season. And I don't know, like how can you blame Joe Mazzulla for playing the guy who deserves the minutes, who's helping them win basketball games? Like he helped yesterday. Like, so
he did.
I don't know. I mean, I think, you look at last season and how much Grant helped and how important he was. And I mean, it's worrisome that Blake is so much more helpful than him, but it's kind of undeniable that that's where we're at right now.
I think that this is a twofold, and maybe I don't know if I'm going too deep into this or not, but I think there's a twofold thing here. One, it's going with a guy like, okay, this guy's playing better than we need right now. And you're saying we need this level of production. Blake Griffin gives us this. Okay. Grant is being shown, hey buddy, this is what we need from this position.
Right.
We don't need all the floaters. We don't need the stepbacks. And I've said multiple times, I think Grant has spent a portion of this season saying, okay, I'm a restricted free agent. I need somebody to overpay me if I'm going to get something from I need another player in this negotiation with the Celtics. So how do you do that? Do I do that by being the good soldier, standing in the corner, shoot the threes, drive, attack, and close out, and kick it out? No, that's not how you do it. You do it by doing that stuff most of the time, but every once in a while when it seems like it's okay, oh, by the way, I got this little step back. Let me just break this off for you. Boom. Check that out. Oh, by the way, when I get into the lane, I can hit this little floater for you. Check that out. little bits where he's expanding his game. And hey, I'm all for expanding your game, but also I'm all for guys doing what the team needs them to do. And this is the dichotomy of NBA basketball. Because Grant Williams is a professional basketball player. And he's not married to the Celtics. They're the team that drafted him. He could have been doing this for, I don't know, Memphis. You know, you're a restricted free agent. You're in this position. He's good enough to get the minutes, but he also needs to show he's good enough to get more money than maybe what the Celtics are offering. So I looked up some of the numbers for a piece that's on Boston Sports Journal right now. The floaters, he has made. Oh, let me pull that. Wait, where'd it go? Over the course of the last 3 seasons, his floaters have gone up significantly. This season, there's 3 different classifications for floaters. I combined them all. 13 of 35. Last season, he was 5 of 17. The season before, he was 6 of 15. So basically, he's taken as many floaters this season as he's taken the previous 2 seasons combined. And he's shooting 37%, by the way, on the floaters. So you shouldn't do that.
Rough.
Stepbacks. Stepback shots this season, 9 of 25. He's shooting 36% on stepbacks. Last season, he was 1 of 8. So 3 times as many stepbacks this season as last season. And not with he's playing kind of like the same role. It's not like he's playing a ton more minutes where he's playing the same game. He's not getting 3 times the amount of minutes. He's just playing, he's just taking a lot more of the stepbacks. And again, 9 of 25, 36% on the stepbacks. Not exactly your shot.
Just to push back slightly, I mean, I would imagine that most of those stepbacks are 3-pointers. So if you're shooting 36%, I mean, you I don't know if you have the numbers in front of you, but 36% on stepback threes isn't the worst thing in the world, and it does kind of indicate that there might be something there.
I don't know. It didn't say how many of them were 3-pointers. I don't think they were all threes, but still, the fact that he's taking those, I see what you're saying. 36% is, that's league average.
Yeah,
it's league average. I don't know what league average is on stepbacks. I mean, it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think by nature, stepbacks are probably a little bit lower percentage.
I would
They're
imagine.
harder. They're harder.
Yep.
Okay, but even so, that's not what Grant Williams needs to do. That's not what they need from him.
Right.
What the Celtics need from Grant Williams is to be the guy that puts the defense, either he stretches the floor with his 3-point shooting or attack the closeout. Now you got a guy behind you. You're going towards the rim. You're drawing defense. Grant Williams being the guy that puts at least 2, possibly 3 defenders out of position is so incredibly valuable, because when Grant Williams is making the pass, who is he finding? Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Marcus Smart, Derek White, the guys who now, those are the guys who can attack that. Now, all of a sudden, you give it up to JB or JT, and they're on the attack. Oh my God. Now the entire defense collapses. And then they kick it out, and there's Derek White taking 2 rhythm dribbles, launching a 3-pointer because he's got all the time in the world. Or it goes back to Grant. So I think there's a level of Joe Mazzulla saying, not only are you going to sit because you haven't earned the minutes here, you're going to sit and watch a guy play the role that you need to play versus what you think you need to do. And it's almost like a reset Grant Williams' head in that spot and say, dude, you got 4 weeks left. Whatever you've shown. Okay? You're no longer negotiating a contract. Okay? It's a month before the playoffs. Play the style you need to play. And that's that. I'll give you your time to respond here because I've basically spoken for half that segment. Because first, we got to talk about Built Bar, and Built Bar Madness is here. It's March. We know you got a favorite Built Bar or Built Puff, and now's the time to make it count. Go to BuiltMarchMadness.com to vote for your favorites. You know, I'm going to be voting for it's always hard for me. But I think I'm going to go double chocolate bar. If you want the Locked On Celtics podcast to win, then you'll be voting for that bar as well. Support your team, support your bar. When you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you'll be entered to win a drawing where 50 Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not bad. Not only that, one Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. You got to try Built. It's the best protein bar ever. Seriously, so amazing that you won't even realize that they're good for you. What makes those things so good? Well, for starters, they're all high in protein, low in sugar, covered in 100% chocolate, real chocolate. So run to BuiltMarchMadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop in, support your pick. All right, before the break, I laid out a big, long theory. So, Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all reasonable, right? Like, I mean, because I think to your point, like you said, it's 4 weeks before the playoffs. We're getting down to it. It's time to start taking everything super seriously and playing with it. Like if there were individual goals that you had during the regular season, it is now time to put that aside and kind of participate again fully in the team goals. I think for Grant, it's interesting. Just what he kind of decided that he needed to show teams, right? Because if you showed teams all year, if you just like really hammered in the things that Grant Williams was after last year's playoffs, a guy who could guard Giannis, a guy who could guard Kevin Durant, a guy who could hit threes, a guy who, even if you mixed in some of this stuff, right? Guy who hits threes, guy who can kind of drive closeouts a little bit. Say these 36%, let's say it was step backs, right? Let's say it mostly was step backs. Guy who hits 36% on step back threes and hits open spot up threes, and who does drive those closeouts and who can pass out of them. I mean, wouldn't that get him roughly like what he was hoping for? I feel like it would. I feel like that's an extremely valuable role player. It's the reason that we said a couple times that, hey, this is like he's the Al Horford replacement because he can do all these things that Al Horford brings. So it's like it's kind of odd, that the floater, did seem to be kind of a point of emphasis and all of that. But yeah, I mean, look, I think if this is what he needed to get his, to kind of get right, like you said, to kind of get his head right, great. Take some time, watch Blake Griffin do it, watch a veteran do it. Honestly, watch, kind of like what Marcus Smart does sometimes, right? Like defend a bunch of different positions. Like when a guy closes out, take 2 dribbles in and then kick it to a shooter and see what happens. Like, just sort of reintegrate yourself into Celtics basketball. If that's what happens, then the Celtics will be in a great position. But it has been a weird. It's just been a weird stretch for him, man. I don't know how much of it is the injury. I don't know how much of it is I don't know. It's just been weird basketball.
Well, if it's the injury, put him on the injury report, so
right.
We don't have to do this. Put him on the injury report, like.
And so nobody's guessing. Like take the pressure off his shoulders. Like yeah.
Like this, if this is the injury, then first of all, if it's the injury, the league requires you to disclose that,
right?
Because gamblers, for by whatever reason, are betting on these games based on believing certain guys are going to hit. So maybe there's a prop. Maybe there's a prop about rebounds or 3-pointers, and the number is 20. What did they hit 20? Maybe the prop was 22, 23, and somebody said, well, Grant Williams is going to hit 2 or 3, and I'll take the over on that. And if Grant doesn't play because he's hurt, then that impacts the gambling. And hey, the NBA, deeply in bed with sports gambling right now. So if the Celtics are hiding an injury for any player, they do not disclose it, they're going to get fined. And that is actually something that matters to the Celtics. Like, they're already throwing a lot of money around for the tax.
Yeah.
They don't want to be tacking on fines for on top of that. So, and also it does take the pressure off of Grant. Like, why would you want Grant to sit around and be DNP and have all of us on the outside having these discussions? Whoa, what's going on with Grant? I wrote something on it. I know B-Rob wrote something on it for Mass Live. All the people are writing stuff about Grant Williams and Blake Griffin and all of that. If the Celtics are well aware of everything we write and everything that we talk about on our podcast, they know everything that we say. So if there's an injury and it's not being disclosed, then somebody on the Celtics is going to be like, hey, can we put him on the injury report? Can we at least say he's on the injury report and say he's out? Can we say that just so we can like save the kid some stress or whatever it is? So if he's not on the injury report, that means he's able to play. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
And if he's able to play and they don't want to put him on the injury report, it means that, hey, just like Mike Muscala, he's active just in case. If 3 guys go down with ankle sprains, somebody's got to play. So that's why, Fionndo Cabangeli or JD Davison was active last night. Just never know. So yeah. I don't know. I feel like Grant is going to be back in the rotation. I think Grant has one more chance to join the rotation. I think he's getting a little bit of a message, a little bit of a, hey, I don't know if it's the way he talks to the officials. I don't know if it's, that level of stuff.
Right.
Because, hey, man, when you're out there and you're letting the officials get to you like that on top of not playing well, and you're that, animated around the officials, like, all right, take some time off, buddy. You need to relax. I can see all of that. But the fact is, Blake Griffin is not going to go and play 30 minutes against the Bucks
right
in 6 or 7 games. He might get some spot duty somewhere because he's big and strong. He might get some spot duty against Joel
and because he takes charges, which is not valuable against Giannis Antetokounmpo.
100%. He might get some spot minutes here and there, but we've seen teams rely on Blake Griffin in the playoffs. It's 2023.
Right.
We all love Blake for what he's doing, and everybody in the team seems to really, really love Blake for his attitude and how he comports himself. And he's been a stunningly valuable addition compared to what I thought he was going to be, especially. He is not somebody you're going to depend on in the playoffs. He cannot be. It has to be Grant Williams. Has to be. So now's the time you get your message out there. And maybe if he does have a lingering elbow thing, then maybe that heals. But now's the time you get your message. Hey, you see what Blake's doing? We don't need you to be taking shots away from Tatum and Brown. We need you to take the shots that you get, the 3-pointers, and then when you drive it, you find somebody else. That's what you do. And you do it right. And that's it. That's the end of the story. And if he doesn't want to do it, then the next time, I think he's got one more chance. Come on in, play well, and then just move forward. Come on in, don't play well, or keep doing the same stuff, then I think that might be it.
The thing is, yeah. The thing is, like, that you say that might be it, but then what does happen when you face Giannis? Like, what does happen when say you make it?
Yeah.
I think they are. I agree with your idea that they're trying to send a message. I think that's probably, that seems very, very likely and or plausible. But I do think like it you can try to send that message, but push comes to shove, you're going to need Grant Williams. The Celtics are going to need Grant Williams. And like, I think that is part of the reason why, like DNP CDs, like it is a message. Hey, like we do need you, play like this because, and yeah, like you're going to be back in because we might face Giannis. Like, if you're the Celtics, hopefully we face Giannis because then you're in the Eastern Conference Finals probably. Can they go
7 deep? You can just say no Grant. We're just going to go with Malcolm and Derek off the bench. And that's going
to be a punishing series for Al Horford.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. You go small, Al's in. And when, maybe Blake comes in for like 5 minutes, 3 minutes here, try to steal some minutes. I don't know.
Maybe
I'm with you. And maybe I'm wrong in saying it the way I said it. But if Grant, if there's a message being sent to Grant and it's not received, then what do? Like, maybe you just say, okay, you're benched for the entire first round series. Maybe you're benched for the entire second round series. Okay, so say they play the Hawks in the first round. Okay, fine. You don't need Grant Williams to beat the Hawks.
No,
should beat them pretty handily. Cavs or Knicks in the second round. You could probably use them. But maybe,
look, man, there's a reason Derek White didn't play against the Knicks, and the reason is Julius Randle. Like you're down the stretch that he didn't play, that's where it starts to get dicey. That's where it's like, yeah, like maybe the message extends to the first round, but I think if you get the Knicks in the second round, if you get the Bucks in the conference finals, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is you got to do what it takes to win.
Yeah.
If Grant Williams is the answer in a series, and you sit him for some sort of nope, he didn't learn his lesson.
Right.
Okay, then nobody gets a ring. Then sure, like at some point he's going to have to play. But
Joe Mazzulla does not strike me as a Bill Belichick benching Malcolm Butler type situation. Like, I don't think that's going to happen here.
No, I don't think so either. I don't. So, but either way, Grant has to get the message.
Has to.
I actually, for everything that I've said, I believe in the guy. I believe in his ability to get this job done. I think he should stick around. I've said he should stick around. 4 years, $60 million is fine. $60 million contract for him would be great. It's plenty of money. And I think that's something that he will earn over the course of 4 years. I don't want Grant Williams going anywhere. I actually think that they should be finding a way to make sure he's at his best when the playoffs start. But maybe this is that. Maybe this is their kind of like, okay, we've tried this. We've tried other things to try and get the message across. How about benching him? Maybe benching him for a couple of days. Or, you do it against Portland. You do it against Atlanta. You do it against Houston. Like, you're sending the message against okay, you're not playing against these bad teams.
Yeah.
But hey, it's still embarrassing. It's still embarrassing to sit on the bench and not get your shot, because maybe these bad teams were chances for you to get your 20 points and build your case for an extra $1 million or something. So maybe they're just trying to kind of have their cake and eat it too. You don't need Grant for these games, and this is where you go send the message to him.
Yeah. When you think about it, 4 years, $60 million, right? Like, you're well on your way to you're easily going to top $100 million in your career.
I mean, yeah. In total gross earnings. Yeah. I mean, it's still,
you'll make $100 million in your professional career. John Karalis, you're gonna make $100 million in your professional career. How you feeling?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I would say, first of all, thank you to Built Bar for coming through with a big major sponsorship. Thank you very much.
All this gambling revenue is
really coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's life-changing money. It is life-changing money. I mean, even if the take home, I'm always weary about talking about how much players make, because the take home money is actually significantly less. Not that it's on a $60 million deal, you probably take home like 25 is something you probably, by the time you pay agents, taxes, jock taxes in other cities, like, people don't realize, you go play in Indiana charges a jock tax, and you got to pay a portion of your salary. You got to pay your agent like 2 or 3%. You got to pay your taxes on it, which is at that point 45%. By the time you pay all of that, so your union dues, all of that stuff. But at the end, it's like the lottery. If I hit the $200 million Mega Millions Okay, the cash option is like 70 million. Like, oh no, I only get $70 million. So yeah, so it's still plenty of money. It's still life-changing money. So, and I think Grant's gonna be fine, man. Grant's gonna make plenty of money over the course of his career. 100 million. With the new TV deal kicking in, man, he's gonna make $150 million over the course of his career.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fine.
Yep.
But like that's the point I made in this piece. Grant has the luxury of he's made his money. Grant is not worried about nothing. He's not worried about his next contract. He's not worried about money. He's not worried about anything. Literally all he cares about is doing what he can to win a ring. It's the last thing he hasn't been able to do. He's gotten all the other stuff. So he wants a ring. Grant is like, yeah, that's nice. I want a ring too. I want to win too. I have not made my money yet.
Point of clarification, I believe you said Grant when you meant Blake. But
Blake,
yeah.
Blake has made all his money.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm getting over. Blake Griffin has made all of his money. Blake Griffin has made $250 million over the course of his career just from playing basketball. And then you fold in all of the endorsements that he's made. So you could chalk up probably another 50 to 100 million on top of that between sneakers and cars.
He
was making a ton of commercials at his height. He was like the most popular player in the league for a while.
He was.
So he in endorsements may make what Grant Williams will make over the life of his career. So he's fine. So Grant still needs to make his money. That's, hey, that's what being a pro in the NBA is, man. You just you have to worry about stuff like that.
Yep.
It's not as easy as people say, oh, well, you should be focused on winning a championship. Like, yeah, he is. But like, hey, man, he's in his 20s and he's got 60 million staring at him in the face. I want that money, buddy.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Tom Westerholm, thanks as always for hopping on the show.
Appreciate you.
Monday night means Celtics Rockets 8:00 game. So I'll be here after that game with a brand new podcast. If you enjoyed this one and you haven't subscribed yet, then please subscribe. Get that YouTube, ring that bell, hop in the conversation there. Would love to see you in the comment section, letting me know what you think about Grant Williams and Blake Griffin in that situation. Are we on to something here? Is it something else? What do you think? Let me know. Hop in the conversation and let us know. And if you are subscribed, I'd love it if you shared the podcast. Tell your friends, family, everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.